Hey, welcome to Mind Your Own Biz, the podcast where we help small business owners with big dreams build something authentically you. I'm Alicia Yervis, educator, marketer, designer, nacho enthusiast, and your big sister in business. I'm excited for us to have this cozy spot to chat. Each episode, we'll tackle candid conversations, actionable tips, and a few fun tangents to help you run your business your way. Because business is always personal, no matter what anyone says. So grab your iced coffee or those nachos, and let's get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mind Your Own Biz. I'm your host, Alicia Yervis. I have been having so much fun doing this podcast. If you listen to my first episode, you know that I'm doing this in an imperfect way, figuring it out as I go. And that's been working. Like, there's been some little snafus, but it hasn't been anything earth-shattering. And each time I'm getting better and better. You know, I think we have a tendency to, I know I do. Well, I'm not going to start because I don't know how to make it perfect. I don't know how to do the exact steps in the exact right order to make it look and sound professional and, you know, correct and all that stuff. And honestly, you guys, I could kick myself because this is so much easier than I expected. Even though I had people telling me that, you know, I had successful podcasters who teach about that and who I've learned a bunch of tips from, and I have free guides and all this stuff, you know, like sometimes we're digital hoarders, right? Like we download all these guides, all these tips, and like we still don't take action. We still, you know, don't retrieve them from our downloads file and like, or downloads folder and like actually, you know, consume them. But anyway, I've been hearing from so many of them that it really is easier than you think. And I just wish I had started this sooner, but oh well. The important part is that I started it. Here I am recording my 7th episode. I think this is the 7th. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you as a little update if you've been with me from the beginning. Full transparency, I'm still figuring out my process. Right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that I am sitting in my home office. I've got like a hot pink sequin curtain behind me, lots of colorful stuff on my desk. But I'm not in a fancy podcast studio. I live in an apartment, so you might hear the garbage truck, you might hear dogs barking, you might hear, you know, neighbors coming and going and stuff. I don't have like a insulated sound studio right now. And I don't know if I ever will because it's not necessary. Like here I am making the podcast, it's not necessary, but I just wanted to tell you I'm trying it from my desk this time. My first couple episodes have all been from my bedroom because it's like more insulated and just a little quieter in there. And I put like towels under the door and stuff like that, but it's not great for like visuals, like when I'm, you know, filming Zoom with a podcast guest. Like, first of all, my room's a wreck, like, hello. But on top of that, the way that the windows are positioned, like it's just the light is glare and or the light makes a glare and it's just not a great spot, but it's better for sound. So I'm trying this out and seeing how we do. Um, and you know, if the sound is not terrible, I'll probably do this from here on out because I just prefer the aesthetics of the background. Anyway, very excited for today's episode. I have someone awesome who is super close to me, who has been part of my business and part of my world and part of my life for, oh God, 5 years now. I think. Yeah, we're about to celebrate 5 years, which is just crazy to say. And I'll get to that in a minute. But before I tell you who my guest is, I want to make sure you know about 2 things that I have for you. One, I want to let you know that doors are about to open for the 3rd time on my virtual business sisterhood called the Make It Happen Mini Mind. I'm sure you've heard about masterminds and all that stuff. That was like too intense for this chick, okay? So that's why I'm calling it a mini mind. Basically, it is an entrepreneur or a charging station for your entrepreneurial soul. Okay. It's 2 months long. It's a cohort of small or women in small business, just like you, like female entrepreneurs who are looking for support, accountability, brainstorming, collaboration, community, intention setting, co-working, like virtual co-working, and a private group online where we can all chat and stay in touch with each other. And we meet on Zoom once a week, um, sometimes more. And we have mini workshops in there called sister-led sessions where they're on a wide variety of topics like content strategy, journaling, meditation. We've had things with yoga, with astrology, all different kinds of topics. And it's a really special experience. I get amazing feedback each time I've done it. Each time I want to make it better and better. And basically, it's 2 months for you to lock arms with your new business besties and focus and have this dedicated container to work on something that moves your business forward. That's why I called it the Make It Happen mini mind. So I don't care if it's something huge, if it's something small. I want you to be able to have support and community with folks who get it. I know that entrepreneurship can be lonely and frustrating. Those closest to you don't even understand a lot of the time the ups and downs and what goes into everything. And I just felt that this was a needed space. And I was hearing that it was a needed space. I have a free Facebook group called the Help Desk where I share marketing tips and small business tips and discussion and things like that. And in that group, people were saying, I wish I had something that was just for women or, something smaller and more dedicated. And so I made it. And sometimes it's just nice to know you're not alone, like, and so we gather, we set intentions for each week. We talk about what was awesome for the week or for the week that just happened, what sucked, what are we looking forward to this weekend or this week, um, and what are we working on? How can we help each other? There's some group coaching in there. There's hot seat opportunities. There's collaboration, brainstorming, all that kind of stuff. And it's awesome. It's really fun. And it's only 2 months long, so it's not a huge time commitment, although people have expressed that they wish it was a year-round thing. So I am thinking about that for future memberships or future things. But I want to make sure doors are opening this month, February 2025. So if you're not on my email list, get on my email list and I will let you know as soon as it opens. And the best way to do that is to put yourself on the wait list for the mini mind. So you're going to head to aliciayurvis.com/mini mind. And there you can add yourself to the wait list. The doors are opening really, really soon. It's meant to be a small, cozy cohort. Okay. It's not supposed to be tons and tons of ladies in there. I want to keep it small so that we can all get to know each other and it's more intimate and just more of a tight knit, small kind of cozy space. So sign up for that wait list and I will send you all the details. The other thing I want to make sure you know is that always you can book with me something called an Empower Hour session. And these have been really popular one-on-one Zooms with me where basically we can talk about whatever you want. And I'm here to help you get clarity and kind of break through what the blocks are, get you unstuck. What are the obstacles happening right now in your business? So it's kind of like, think of it like a private one-to-one personalized business brainstorm session with me on Zoom. And you also get a recording of it. You can head to aliciayurvis.com/empower hour. And if you use promo code podcast, you can save $25 on your session. So you can just go to aliciayurvis.com/empower hour. You can find all the information there, get all the details, and use promo code podcast, and you'll save $25. And they're really, really helpful. You can read reviews there from ladies who have taken these sessions with me. And I'm kind of taking your jumbled ideas and roadblocks, and I'm using my 15 plus years of marketing experience and detangling skills to help you make sense of it all. And so by the end of our chat, you'll feel so much calmer and clearer about what's ahead. I really, really want to help you. So I want to make sure you know that you can get that one-to-one time with me on Zoom. And yeah, I hope to see you on my calendar this year. Okay, so without further ado, I am so excited about today's guest. I am welcoming my very own virtual assistant, Kaitlyn Cerrato. Kaitlyn has been my the wind beneath my wings, first of all, my secret weapon, my confidant, sometimes therapist. She's like a sister to me. She's one of my very best friends. And she has helped me and my business tremendously over the last 5 years. And we're going to talk all about that. But the reason I wanted to have her on, besides the fact that she's just awesome at what she does, even though her business has pivoted a bit since we started working together, and we're going to talk about that, is because folks are always asking me, number one, how are you doing all the things? uh, are you getting help with this, et cetera? And then also when I'm always encouraging folks to get a virtual assistant, it's kind of like their eyes glaze over and they're like, I don't even know where to start with that. What does that mean? I can't afford that. How do you find them? How do you hire them? How do you work with them? How do you find the right person? What kind of stuff do they do? How long do they work for you? Like all these different questions. And I was like, you know what? We kind of figured out our process. Like with most things, there are many ways to uh, you know, create your process. Like it's not like there's one set way. So we're just going to talk about our way, and how we found each other and how we work together and all that stuff. And then Kaitlyn's also going to talk about her business as it looks right now. She's doing something a little bit different, even though she's still my virtual assistant. Lucky me, thank the Lord. But she is just the best. So I'm going to welcome her on here in a second. She is in the waiting room as we speak. So just to tell you a little bit about her, her name is Kaitlyn Cerrato. She is a virtual assistant turned HoneyBook Pro and systems strategist. And she's here to bridge the gap between creativity and efficiency, specifically for photographers and videographers now, even though that's not where she started. That's what she's doing now. And she really loves making sense out of chaos, helping create streamlined processes and finding opportunities for a high touch client experience, all while maintaining your unique voice and personal touch, and with the help of caffeine, of course. So her business is called the KC Collective, which you can learn about or learn more about at thekccollective.co. That's thekccollective.co. And we're going to talk about her business as it stands now. We're going to talk about HoneyBook because that is an amazing tool that I actually am hoping to transition to this year. And she's got an offer through there. And we're going to talk about virtual assistants. What are they? How can they help you? Because let me tell you something. Not only is she the virtual assistant for my business, she's the virtual assistant for my life. It just kind of happened that way. I love her so much. I cannot stop saying enough amazing things about her. So, without further ado, I am going to welcome in Kaitlyn. Hi.
Hi.
So, everybody, this is Kaitlyn. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the video version. This is Kaitlyn. She is just the best. You just heard me explain a little bit of her intro and how Kaitlyn and I, or that Kaitlyn and I work together. She is my absolutely amazing superstar virtual assistant. And I can't believe we've been working together for 5 years. It is just crazy. And I'm going to go into a little bit about like when I was looking for a VA, and my process for hiring and researching and interviewing and all that stuff. But can I just say that quick little side story? Kaitlyn and I started working together in it was like March 5th, 2020 or something like that. It was
Yeah.
like right before the world stopped.
Mhm.
And it was like literally, we had just kind of started getting to know each other. We had just started on some like, small projects. And it was like 10 or 12 days later, I had to be like, never mind for now.
Can't believe it's that
Because
fast of like a time frame too.
yes, yes. And it was so crazy because I knew right away. Like like I said, I had been interviewing some folks, and I'll talk about that in a second. But when I had, uh, met you and connected with you, like I knew right away you were so different than everybody, and you were absolutely the right person for me. And I was so frustrated and upset that we had to like, it was like, hurry up and wait.
Mhm.
And because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like all of a sudden, like I was losing all these clients. I had no income. And I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we were able to quickly, like I think like 2 months later, get
Mhm.
back in gear, and we haven't looked back since. So thank you for hanging in with me there in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Thanks for hanging in with me. Felt the same way when I met you. I was like, this is perfect relationship, perfect person. I think you were like my second client next to Ariel. So
hmm
it's been amazing 5 years.
That is so awesome. Yeah. So Ariel is Kaitlyn's amazing sister, older sister. And Ariel and I had known each other for a long time. She and I have collaborated on all different kinds of projects over the years. And she had reached out to me when she saw that I was um, looking for a virtual assistant, because I was posting on this platform called HoneyBook, which we're going to talk about later. And she just happened to see my posting, and so she like sent me a side, covert email, and she's like, hey, so like no pressure, but my sister, she has started a virtual assistant business, and like I'm biased, but I think she's amazing, and yada yada. And so I got in touch, and it was just like, oh my God, like perfect fit. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, thank you. And yeah, it was just like complete, like, we fell in love. And and I'm so happy that Ariel happened to see that post.
Me too.
So first, let me just say, like, how did I know that it was time for me to look for a virtual assistant? Or what made me think, like, let me explore this idea? I think first, I have to acknowledge, and I kind of said this in the intro, um, when I had gotten that suggestion from other folks who had been in business longer than me or were a little further along than me, I kind of like scoffed at the idea because number one, I'm thinking, I'm not really even making, significant money right now. I can't
Mhm.
like afford to hire an employee. I can't afford to hire a team member. That was the first thing. It was financial. The second thing was, oh my God, how am I going to, uh, you know, teach someone all about my business, all about my processes and all that stuff? That's going to take so long to do that. I'll just do
Mhm.
it myself. And then thirdly, how do I make sure I find the right person? Because any team member that I work with, whether it's, um, an intern, a subcontractor, anything, like I have to click with them. I have to make sure that I'm hiring not just for talent and skill and, testimonials and all that, but I want to make sure we get along. I want to make sure like we vibe, like personality wise and stuff. And people have been saying, it's wait. And also also letting go of control, which kind of goes with number 2 of what I was saying, but like letting go of control is
That's
hard for me.
big for everyone. That's a big thing. Hmm.
hmm And I just started seeing more and more of it in the business groups that I'm in, the female entrepreneur groups that I'm in and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Let me try to do some research and um, present like what I can do, what I can offer, and
Hmm.
let me see who I find first, and then let me see if they're open to the idea of like a trial type thing where it's not a huge financial investment in the beginning. It's not a huge time commitment of, working with someone for months and months and months. Like, what about like a 10-hour small kind of package, where we both evaluate at the end and see where we're at? So the first thing that I did was, I had gone on HoneyBook, and I had put up a post just saying basically that I'm a marketer, I'm a designer, I've been in business for a couple years, and I just really need help with flow, process, organization, standard operating procedures, all these fancy terms that my ADHD brain is like, no. um, but knowing that like I'm only one person and there's only so many hours in the day, and I wanted to grow. I wanted to be able to pass off some things and not have to do every single piece of my
Mhm.
business. Um, and so I had gotten some initial responses to my inquiry. By the way, HoneyBook, could you give an overview about what HoneyBook is for those who don't know?
Yeah, so HoneyBook is a CRM, so a customer relationship management system. And a lot of people get confused with a CRM and a project management system.
Hmm.
Some platforms might do both. HoneyBook is specific to CRM. So they do everything from communication with clients. So you can send emails to them, booking so that you can do invoices, contracting, you can schedule sessions with clients, calls, for photographers, a lot of like portrait sessions, mini sessions, things like that. So it kind of covers that part of your system, and you can build out like your workflow in HoneyBook so that it takes you to the step of the process with the clients, like as you go through. So it's really helpful for all of those parts of the business.
Awesome. And you would say it's like, it's not just for photographers and videographers, it's for all different kinds of creatives and all different kinds of businesses, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They started out like a while ago, I think primarily for like creatives, but
Hmm.
now over the last 5, 6, 7 years, they've definitely pivoted to wanting any kind of business owner in there. And they've really grown what they offer and stuff too over the last couple of years. So it's awesome for anybody needing that type of stuff for their business.
Awesome. And we're going to talk about this more at the end, but or as we talk further. But I also want to just share that Kaitlyn is a preferred. What do you call it?
HoneyBook Pro.
HoneyBook Pro. Kaitlyn is a HoneyBook
That's the
Pro,
name of their
and
program.
that's the name of their program. She is a HoneyBook Pro, and she was kind enough to share a referral code with us, so you guys can get 30% off your first year if you use her link. So I'm going to put that in the show notes, because I'm going to use that link when I'm ready to move over because I am like done with. You guys know how it is. I have like all these platforms, all these systems. This thing talks to this thing. I'm paying this thing to this thing. It's just like it's madness. I would love to have it all under one roof. So I'm eventually going to do that. So anyway, I will make sure to put that in the show notes. And thank you, Kaitlyn, for sharing that. That's very exciting. So we'll talk more about that. I put up this post. I got a bunch of responses. I was quickly able to weed out folks that didn't work, or that I didn't really like the vibe of their message. Or I looked at their link or their portfolio or their whatever that they sent, and I was just not very impressed. Um, and I also put some posts in some Facebook groups that I was in, kind of presenting the same, search idea. Like, here's what I can do, here's what I'm looking for, here's how to get in touch with me. And I got a bunch of inquiries there too. So I just made a simple spreadsheet where I put the names and the contact info of the folks that I was interested in chatting with. And I think I had narrowed it down to like three or four. And I sent them an email and I just said, hey, I'd love to hop on a call and learn more about you, or Zoom if possible. And um, that helped me further weed people out. Um,
Definitely does.
it does, because like I can't recommend that enough. Like even when I do discovery calls for clients and stuff, like I insist on a Zoom call because
Yeah.
sometimes people's email tone does not match their personality, vice versa. Plus, I just want to put a face to a name, all that kind of stuff. So I did the same thing with this search. And so I had narrowed it down further to, I think, two. And then, like I said, as soon as I spoke with Kaitlyn, I was like, ah. Um, and and I just loved how well, I loved your personality, number one. And also there was the personal connection through Ariel. So I felt there was already like built-in trust because I trust Ariel fully as well. Um, so there was that. That got you a leg up for sure. But 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 I so appreciated the flexibility that you had to my idea and to kind of like Sure, let's try each other out. Like, let's figure this out.
Mhm.
And so my first question to you about this whole thing is what led you to virtual assistant work? Because if I recall, you were an executive assistant, is that right? Or you had executive or some sort of
Um,
assistant
I
something.
had, yeah, I had experience doing like project management, exec
Mm-hmm.
assistant work at a previous job, and it was
Mm-hmm.
more of like a temp position that I got from a internship. So I just kind of worked up into that role. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my husband and I got married out of college, and I knew going into our marriage that we would be moving around a lot just because of his job. So
Mm-hmm.
we got to our first like move a spot, and I was like, okay, well, start interviewing for jobs. Like this is what you do. So like going for
Mm-hmm.
an office job. And I, eventually got offered a position, and it was fine. It wasn't anything that I was like so passionate about or anything. But I got the offer and I was like, I just don't want to keep doing this. Like that whole process is
Mm-hmm.
stressful, it's long, it's draining. And so I just knew like having to move multiple times in our life, like I just didn't want to have to redo that every time.
Yeah.
I know I probably just wasn't very involved with like online virtual positions, remote positions, which I don't think there were nearly as many pre-COVID as there are now.
Very true.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think it existed, but I just didn't know much about it. So I was kind of like, well, it's either an office job or something that I make on my own, that I make my own schedule, I do my own thing. Um, so yeah, my sister, who's amazing, she was a photographer, like starting in high school all the way up. Like she's awesome. And so now she does brand photography and brand strategy. But when I was in that like weird place of trying to figure out what's next, what do I do? She was like, "Oh, you can just be like my VA, be my virtual assistant." I was like, I don't think that's a real, I don't think it's a real thing. And she was like, "No, like it is." And so I basically started out just doing really random stuff for her. Just miscellaneous tasks, things that I was able to do for her. And a lot of now, like just kind of fast forwarding, a lot of what I did in high school, college, programs I was a part of, my internship, that experience translated very well to virtual assistant work,
Mm.
which is why it's such a good option for anybody who doesn't know what they want to do, or they want to work from home, they want to have flexibility, whatever. It's an easy into a virtual business because so much of your past history, your work history, your personal history, whatever, it translates really well. So, yeah, I started working with her and I just loved it. Like, I loved doing that type of role, those type of tasks and projects and stuff. So that's kind of how it started. And then I think you were my second client. And then just kind of snowballed from there.
Cool. I love that it was kind of like you kind of fell into it sorta,
Mhm.
through some of the stuff you were good at, some of the stuff you like doing, and then you realize like, "Oh, like I can kind of do this my own way, build my own business that works for me, for my life with my husband, and for helping people wherever at any time, on my own terms," which I am obsessed with. And
Yeah.
I have recommended to so many friends, colleagues, family members, like all different people that a virtual assistant, job or a virtual assistant business could be something awesome that they could pursue even on the side,
Yeah.
for extra income until, yours took off, which is great. But I just feel like lots of folks maybe have some of these skills and they're not thinking that, oh, I could actually sell my skills
Right.
to help
Yeah.
others. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I love that. So going back to the what a virtual assistant can do,
Mhm.
what they can help you with, and going back to the post that I had put up, I was trying to like just put it out there to see who would respond and what would be available. And so I say that to all of you listening, don't feel like you need to have this fully fleshed out, fully thought out, fully structured like thing. If you know a specific task or a few specific tasks that are just sucking your time, or you just don't like doing them, or they're too maybe they're too repetitive, and you're just, you don't want to have to do it over and over again. Whatever the things are, come up with a short list and come up with a dollar amount, either by the hour or maybe like a package type thing where, like, okay, I can afford whatever the amount is. Is it $300? Is it $500? Is it $1,500? Whatever the things are, and just put it together. Don't have judgment about it. Just gather it and write it down. Then review it. And then if it feels right, put it out there. And the reason I say that is because I have found, not just with like when I was hiring a virtual assistant, but when I'm looking for, let's say, a photographer, a videographer, whatever type thing, there are folks out there to meet every budget. There are folks out there to meet every type of skill set, need, timeline, experience, like all that different stuff. So don't prejudge and pre-think that no one can do that task, or no one's going to understand how to do that, better than me, or I can't afford a full-time employee or whatever. And by the way, a virtual assistant's not an employee. They're a
Mhm.
subcontractor. That's an important thing to know too. So it's not like I tell Kaitlyn, hey, like, be at your desk from 9 to 5. Like, no. Like, Kaitlyn
Yeah.
has
Don't
her
worry about
own.
taxes. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Kaitlyn has her own hours. I know, like, when she's around,
Mhm.
but it's not the same as an employee. So that's an important thing to note. But my thought is, put it out there. If you know you don't like designing social media graphics, if you know you don't like writing emails, handling your inbox and travel plans, uh, accounting, um, client feedback and outreach, project management, website edits, designing, uh, you know, um,
The never-ending
emails,
list.
like it's a never ending list of
Yeah.
stuff. Even like research, like think of all the things that we have bookmarked or screenshotted to save to like look into later. Yeah. Okay. Okay. When have you actually done that?
Yeah.
So being able to offload some of those things and actually be able to move your business forward has been like life changing for me. Um, and one of the first things that I did once Kaitlyn and I had started our trial, and I knew, like, like I said, immediately that she was going to be amazing. Um, I started then feeling like, okay, I feel supported. I trust this person. She's great at what she does. We have a great rapport. Now I can start kind of going back into my very lengthy list of like stuff that I've been meaning to do, quote unquote, and figure out how to tackle it. And that is where Kaitlyn in particular excelled at project management by helping me kind of wrangle that. Um, and at the same time, knowing that she was new to my business, there was a period of like introducing her to my business, my
Yeah.
processes, my logins, my cadence for different things like email blasts, or social media posting at the time, or different promotions of things, at different times of year and stuff. And that is a process. But the cool thing is, and this is where I don't want you to overthink this, we get stuck in like, oh, it's going to take so long to explain. Oh, I have to train somebody. Da, da, da. You only have to do it once.
Mhm.
And then
So worth it.
they're
Mhm.
supposed to recall it. And
Most of
Kaitlyn
the
did.
time.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Like we're yeah. I mean, obviously we're gonna work things out and talk things through, but like you don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to go over things over and over again.
Mhm.
It's so worth it to go through that initial like onboarding and training, so that and they're taking notes and all that kind of stuff, or maybe they're doing a Zoom and recording it so they can reference it, whatever. They should have good organizational skills.
Mhm.
um, but that was just such an immediate like relief for me to see that Kaitlyn was absorbing and learning like what I was telling her. And then she was able to show me in her actions and her work that she understood what the frig I was saying and the things that I wanted to do. And so that's something too, when you're looking for that virtual assistant, you want to make sure in that trial, right? Because we have like a low commitment kind of short term sort of trial that you're seeing through their actions and their results that they're doing good work. They're listening to you. They understand what you want to do and how you want things done. And it doesn't mean that, it's going to be 100% right out of the gate, but that's where you can tweak until it's right, until it feels good. Um, and so I know that when you decided that you wanted to go into this work, you did go through a training program, right? To kind of learn about this. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So after I started working with my sister, and my personality, I'm very much like I need to know what I'm getting into before I jump, head first in. I need to know like what I'm doing, what do I need, like all the things. So before I made it into like a fully fledged business, I really wanted to make sure I had some of those pieces in place. So I found a program called Michaela. I think she just uses her name, Michaela Quinn. I'm not sure if there's like an ending title. I think it's just her name. But she has a program where she teaches you how to basically create your virtual assistant business. And she may have pivoted a bit since then. I mean, that was 5, 6 years ago now. But it still exists. So she basically does, video training. She does calls with you where she walks you through, how to set up your business, what things you need if you need, a landing page, a website, if you need, certain email templates, your portfolio, all those things, in order to start pitching people and to start reaching out and, getting your name out there and all of that. So that was super awesome to be able to just know like, okay, I have everything in place that I absolutely need. And I know one thing we talked about was like, I didn't have a website when
Mm-hmm.
we talked. I just had like a landing page I think I made through MailChimp, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really all you need when you're first starting. Like you don't need a full website with all the things. Like, eventually if you want to build up to that, that's great. But yeah, I just had like the basics, bare minimum. And then I just started, she encourages you to start looking in Facebook groups and looking for posts like what you had. Funny enough, I wasn't even on HoneyBook, I don't think, when you posted.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I had gotten on there at that point, but yeah, you just kind of start looking for places and people posting like what you posted, saying they need XYZ and here's how much I can, put toward it and all of that. Yeah, and I will say like what you're saying, the like putting the time into training somebody and doing that period is super important, but also like taking the time to do calls with people and really making sure the personality fit is right. I think
Yeah.
that was really good for me and for you. Like, because same with me, like it wouldn't work very well if our personalities didn't mesh and like communication styles didn't mesh and all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was super amazing that you were one of the first people that I was able to connect with and it worked out, thank goodness. But yeah, so it was a really, really cool program. And the other side of her program, she actually has it's like a contact form type thing
Mm-hmm.
where people who are part of the program are able to send that out to someone who maybe was in a good fit for us, and they could submit what they need in a VA. It gets posted to a private Facebook group full of people who like only people who went through her program. So
Mm-hmm.
it's getting put out to people who are experienced, they have everything they need, like they know what they're doing and they want to work with you. So that's the other cool thing about it.
Which is amazing because Kaitlyn has given me that link.
Yes.
So that link is
You-
going in the show notes as well. So this is where, like she just said, this is where it's a hiring form, where folks can submit, like you can send in what you're looking for to find a
Mhm.
VA. You can say, the types of tasks you're looking for help with, a little bit about your business, I'm assuming. I don't know if you can put budget and stuff in there too, but
Yep.
yeah. So it's kind of like, here you go. We just made it so much easier for
Like a
you to
cheat sheet,
find a cheat
yeah.
sheet. Yeah. We just made it so much easier for you to find a qualified VA. We did a lot of the legwork for you here. And her name is Michaela Quinn. That's MICALAQUINN.com. But I'm going to send it's a link that's in the show notes, but her name is Michaela Quinn. So make sure you go to the show notes to get that specific link. I don't want you to get lost on the site, but that is huge. Thank you, Kaitlyn, for sharing that. I know that people are going to
Absolutely.
check that out.
Yeah.
And talk to me a bit about not just with me, like working with me as my virtual assistant, but some of the tasks that you enjoy doing, and
Mhm.
also some of the ones that you feel people are always looking for help with, because I feel like that might generate some ideas for people listening.
Yeah. So for me, like a lot of VAs start out offering kind of everything under the sun, email, graphic design, scheduling, all that stuff. And they kind of use the beginning time to figure out what they love, what they enjoy the most, and then they kind of niche down from there. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people will, move into being, industry specific, like doing, email management for, wellness coaches specifically. And then some people will niche down to doing only social media management type services. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it kind of just depends on the person. But for me, I really enjoyed having an array of things I do. Like I liked having the different tasks, different projects, different things to work on each day. And even during my day, like switching between clients, switching between projects and tasks. When I was looking at how to scale my business, I was like, okay, well, everybody niches down. So I was like, okay, what do I love doing the most to like focus on that? And like I couldn't do that. And then I tried to work on like a specific client stuff on Tuesdays and another client on Wednesdays. And I couldn't do it.
Mm.
I don't know why. I think I just really like having the different things to work on. So I really enjoy everything I do. Like I was able to kind of niche down in the way where I'm not offering things that I don't love. So like I don't do like blog writing, like blog post writing, copywriting, those type of things. Because
Mm-hmm.
I know it's just not one of my like skills. It's not one of my passions. So yeah, I right now I offer, for you, I do a lot of like some like graphic stuff. We do some email writing, like project management stuff. For some of my other clients, I do email communication and project management for them, like client management, managing the process and talking to their clients for them on their behalf, things like that. And I love doing that too. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like having kind of I don't know if change of scenery is the right word, but
Yeah, you
change
like the
of path.
variety.
Yeah,
Variety
variety.
is the spice of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I were a virtual assistant, I would feel the same way, because the needing that, yeah, that change of pace, the change of branding, the change of person, the change of, subject
Yeah.
matter, all that stuff, I think would keep it interesting. And it's funny that you mentioned the projects you've helped me with, because I feel like we need a whole second episode about that.
We talk all day about that.
But yeah, everyone, like, just to give you a highlights reel, our the types of projects we've worked on together have evolved over the years as my business has shifted and changed and stuff like that. But Kaitlyn has helped me with so much. Just a few things I can think of off the top of my head. Um, she has designed tons of graphics for me. She has helped me draft tons of email newsletters. She doesn't like writing blogs, but she has repurposed blogs for me. She's repurposed lots of content for me. She has helped me with research. She has helped me with website editing. She has helped me with project management and gathering my thoughts into a way that is able to be digested by my brain, which we're going to talk about a Trello hack that we created
Yeah.
last year, which was huge and life changing.
Love that.
Um, she has helped me. This is one of the biggest things over the last year or two. I've been um, expanding the side of my business that's focused on education. So, digital products, downloads, resources, and stuff like that, including I launched my first course, which was a very big undertaking, a ton of time, many years of time actually behind the scenes to get to the actual launch. I learned everything that I know from Amy Porterfield. She's the best in the biz when it comes to creating digital courses. I'm going to talk about her in further episodes. But after I took Amy's course that taught me how to make a course, then Kaitlyn and I partnered to make my course. And so Kaitlyn was kind of like my uh, mission control, um, where she was my sidekick on this whole process. She was helping me in my webinars, dropping the links into the chat. She was helping me organize like how we were going to get all the pieces into place of the launch, because those of you who have launched courses know it's a ton of work. It's a lot of moving parts. So we have extensive Trello boards and spreadsheets and all kinds of stuff about timing and
Yeah.
calendars and links and turning things on and off and stuff. Huh?
The whole kit and caboodle.
The whole kit and caboodle. So much work. And she is just the best. And she it's like the people, people who take improv classes and like the saying is like yes and that is Kaitlyn. It's like, yep, cool, let's figure it out. Yep, I've never done that, but like let's figure it out. And I just so appreciate her willingness to take on these big initiatives with me. Like over the holidays, we did this huge holiday campaign called 24 Days of Business Cheer, which was like a virtual advent calendar. And I had never done something like that before to that extent, where it was 24 days of these individual sales, promoting a product or a service for 24 hours. So it was very extensive and lots of planning, and she was behind the scenes of it all, making it happen. So she is just the absolute best.
That's so
um, so then, right as I had launched my first or launched my course for the first time, and had been wrapping that up, uh, you know, uh, meeting with my students and getting through the content and stuff. All of a sudden, I got an email from Kaitlyn, and she was like, you know, the launch, everything's great. Like, so proud. This has been so much fun. I know everything's been going great. All that kind of stuff. P.S. I didn't want to tell you in the midst of all the crazy chaos of us launching the course, but I'm moving to Europe. And I was like swallowing my vomit. And then um
perfect
and so yeah,
timing.
yep. She was moving out there for her husband's work. And so then it was like, okay, amazing, first of all. Like, who the hell gets this opportunity? This is crazy. This is awesome. Um, but then it was, okay, so what does this mean? And the first thing she let me know was, don't worry, my business is still going to be operating when I'm over there. Um, but she was real with me. She was like, it comes down to your level of comfort. Like, we're going to be in different time zones. And I still would love to work with you, but I understand, all these kinds of things. And of course I'm just like, well, obviously, like, we're still working together, and now I get to say I have an international team.
Yes. How many people can
uh,
say that? Probably a lot, but
yeah. So we stayed in touch. There was a transition period because, like, hello, she's moving to Europe, so there was a lot to figure out. So we kind of took some time off, like a little sabbatical kind of thing. Um, and then we got back in gear. And aside from the time change, the time zone change, it's like no different at all. Which is the other amazing thing about virtual assistants. They can live anywhere. You don't have to find someone local to you. They can be international. They can be in another state. It doesn't matter, which is why Zoom and the internet are just fantastic.
yeah.
And so, first of all, talk to me about that, like the transition of figuring that out with your clients, like how that kind of went.
Yeah. Well, I'm like blown away and so grateful for all of my clients, because as soon as I told people, I told everyone individually, I received so much like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, of course, like would still love to like, work with you. Like, we'll figure it out. I was like blown away because I was super nervous
Yeah.
about that being like a deal breaker for people.
Mhm.
Which it wasn't. It was received very well, and I got a lot of support. And it was just really great. So I love all my clients. I love you. Like, it was really great. That was like the first thing you said when you replied. You were like, oh my gosh, like congratulations. Of course I would, like, we're still gonna work together, like, obviously. And that just like such a relief. So yeah, it was, I mean, the move here, so we live in Germany, and it was a lot. It was a big transition personally and for my business, but like thank goodness my business is flexible and I can control my schedule, and communicating with my clients, everybody was super great. So that part of it was like not a stressor at all because everyone was so, amazing throughout the entire transition and the time I needed to take to step away,
Hmm.
for the actual move and everything. Um, and so, yeah, it went very smoothly. It was a lot of coordination and trying to, work out pieces of the actual move. But past that, it was good and it was great. And then, once I was ready to like get back into it, um, everybody was super flexible with the maybe a slower reply time the first couple weeks, and figuring out what it means to beat a 6 hour difference time wise. And so we figured it out though. And definitely apps like Trello, Voxer, which we use a lot.
Hmm.
I use Marco Polo with some of my clients. Like it's those apps have been really really integral in making everything smooth and making sure I can still work with everybody the same way, which has been great.
Yeah. And it was funny that you mentioned the time zone because I was just thinking in the beginning, my brain could not like get it together.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait,
Months.
yeah, I literally had a global clock on my desktop, like
Mhm.
from a website that was like Kaitlyn time, because I had to remember she's 6 hours ahead of me.
Yeah.
And like that, so then I'm working backwards in my brain. So there was definitely a time period, especially in the beginning, where I'm like Trelloing stuff to her that at her time is like 2 in the morning, things like that. And she's so cool that she's just like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry. Like, I'll just check it later. Like, you're not waking me up. But yeah, there was a little time period there where I had to like check myself. And sometimes I still screw it up. But um,
Same. My computer is all in Eastern time. I just never changed it because
oh,
when I do
that's smart.
emails and stuff, it has to be in Eastern time. So
That's smart.
like the first like probably half of the year, I was thinking it's like 11 a.m. right now, and it's not.
Hmm.
So my brain was not like computing for a long time. So you're not the
Yeah.
only.
Yeah. But that's another reason why, like, with a virtual assistant who can be anywhere at any time, like it's great because it's so flexible that you can work on your time and they can work on their time. But of
Yeah.
course, there are times where maybe you want to collaborate live with your virtual assistant. So I
Okay.
know, like, okay, like my hours of like, 10 a.m. to noon or something like that is like kind of the hot spot where it's like the end of Kaitlyn's workday over there. So we just coordinate on those things, those random things that might come up where I'll say like,
Yeah.
hey, like, can we have a meeting or, those kinds of things. Um, but you brought up a good point about the apps and the collaboration tools and stuff that we talk about. So I want to talk a little bit about that. You've heard us
Yeah.
mention Trello on this call. So Trello is a tool that I had been using for a while, I think before I had started working with you, Kaitlyn.
Oh,
I
yeah.
forget where I found out about it, but it's basically a project management tool. It's an app. It's also a website. If you've heard of the tool Notion, or you've heard of the tool Monday, these are similar kind of platform. There's another one I think called Basecamp.
Mhm.
Even HoneyBook has some of these features.
Click up.
Um,
Mhm.
ClickUp, right? So basically, Trello. It's Trello.com. Trello. It's basically where you can create these boards full of cards. They're called cards,
Mhm.
where you can make lists of these cards, and the cards are tasks or plans or ideas or whatever. You can add team members to your cards or your projects. You can tag each other in updates. You can have calendars and checklists and timelines, and you can upload stuff to it, and you can reorganize the cards, and you can add alerts and colors and backgrounds and all different kinds of things. And I have been using it for a long time with clients, for project management, where I would make like 3 columns of, or 3 lists. So it would be to do, doing, and done. And so I would, draft out our collaborative project in the to do column. And then as I would, start working on things, I'd pull it into the doing column. And then when I was done, I'd pull it into the done column. And that was more so that my clients could see where I was at in the process of something. And to be honest, most of my clients didn't bother. Most of my clients were kind of like, okay, cool, I'll look at it once or
Oh.
twice. There were only a couple that really used it, but it was more for me. It was really more for me to also see where I'm at in the process, because I'm working with multiple clients. It's good to just have a quick visual of like, what am I working on again? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then so I started using it for working with Kaitlyn, and we have many, many cards.
Limitless
We
cards.
are we are card hoarders over here.
Yes.
Um, but we were using it for a long time together, and very helpful, organized. That being said, like um, as you've heard me talk about before, I have ADHD, and um, one of the reasons I like Trello is because it provides me that visual, where my thoughts become actual, like tangible things on a screen that can be easily edited and changed around and tracked and all that stuff. But it also, Trello is kind of like a way to capture future plans and for like brain dumping, like, okay, let me just put this here so I don't forget. And what started happening was I created a backlog for myself of things that were beyond like what Kaitlyn and I were normally working on, or, had already kind of planned on. And they were just kind of like, you know, simmering back here on the back burner. But then I was never getting to them.
Mm.
And then I started feeling stress of like, like my eye twitching, like, okay, I see this like this list over here of stuff that I wanted to do like a year ago. Like, I need to find ways to start incorporating that now and like chip away at that now. And what I had seen in, or basically like knowing that I had client work to do, knowing that I had like typical work I needed to do in my business, but then I didn't want to also not start any of that other stuff. I wanted to find ways to, begin starting that other stuff finally, so that it eventually could be cleared off my plate, or be implemented or running or whatever. And I saw in another one of my groups someone talking about how, it's great to have a to-do list, but we also can really beat ourselves up about our to-do list because it becomes overwhelming and you see all the things that have yet to be done. And it's like, what if you made a list about what you have done? Like, here's what I've done, like to do and what I've done. And so um, we made a list in Trello where, like I had explained earlier, of to do, doing, and done. Um, we started making a list called completed to date. And as a little dopamine thing in Trello, when you pull a card into the completed list and you have a little emoji at the top of like confetti pop, confetti will pop on your screen.
It's
If you
amazing.
if you pull
Favorite
it,
part of the whole day.
you pull that task over into that column to say completed, and then confetti explodes on your screen.
Mhm.
That little thing is so helpful for my brain.
Yeah.
It's a
Simple
wonderful little
pleasures.
feature. Yeah. And so that was the first kind of piece of things shifting for us in Trello. But then we built on that. And Kaitlyn came up with this amazing uh, process, this amazing tool or design idea for how to restructure our board, where she basically made this board called Project Management. She made a copy of it that only she sees called Project Management Backstage, which of course I just love from my theater background. And the backstage version, I don't see, I mean, I can look at it. I can look at it if I want to, but I don't want to. Um, it's where everything that I've mentioned, like all those little breadcrumby things, ongoing tasks, stuff I want to get to, brain dump stuff, la la la. She's making sense of that back there. And then she's feeding things into the real version for me, um, on a priority needs basis. And she and I talk about what those priorities are. Like, okay, what's the big thing we want to get done today or this week or this month or whatever. And then we color coded it for my brain of like, the stuff that's in red is time sensitive, priority. You have to do this first, it's on fire. And I don't move on most of the time to the other things in the yellow and green lists until the red is done.
Mhm.
And those little hacks from my unique brain of, how I need to think things through has literally been life changing. And I'm going to open it while I'm on here. I'm not going to share my screen, but just to recall, so I can remember the, um, the names of the boards and stuff that we have. Oops. So yeah, project management is the name of the board. And then it was, so time sensitive is the red column. Do this stuff first, it says with a big exclamation point. Then
Can't miss it.
the second column is orange, today priority number one. The third column is yellow, today priority number two. The fourth column is green, today free time. And then the fifth column is blue, additional overflow. Then we've got the done column, which is my job for, like, as I'm completing things, I pull them into the done column. And then she moves them over into completed to date, which is basically like that's her way of tracking, like, okay, Alicia finished this, Alicia finished that. And then we have an additional column that's called AYC, or Alicia updates and stuff. So like as I'm working through my day, because I have different hours than Kaitlyn, I'm putting into that column, here's everything that happened today, here's new stuff, here's questions, here's updates, whatever. And so then when she wakes up in Germany way earlier than me, she can kind of open that board, see what I did, see where I'm at, and, adjust that coming day's plan. So
Mhm.
I can't recommend Trello enough. That was such an amazing visual update to how we collaborate on that. And I will just endlessly thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I think we need to turn that into a template that people can buy
Yes,
because
I agree. I
it's
love
so
that.
awesome.
Yeah, Trello you can use for literally anything. And there's actually people who sell those templates for business and all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, like I use it for like my own stuff. I have on my board that I look at every morning. I have it open all day long next to my email. And
Mm-hmm.
I basically have a column for each of my clients, where like it just lists, I have everything that's like, I need to prep an email next week. I need to do XYZ this week or whatever. And then I have a column at the beginning that's like priority today, number one, priority today, number two. And I just move cards in and out, and then when they're done, I can archive them. And it works really well. Love Trello.
Love it. Love it. It's awesome.
Mhm.
So I'm going to link to that in the show notes as well. And you also mentioned Voxer. So I love Voxer, you guys. If you
Voxer.
haven't, if you haven't heard of it, same thing. It is an app and a website, Voxer, Voxer. And it's like a walkie-talkie style app, which you don't have to use the walkie-talkie feature if you don't want to. But I love that feature. But basically, it's like you can send text updates, pictures, videos, links, like all that kind of stuff. But the reason I love it is because, at least for me, sometimes I'll think of things randomly in the middle of nowhere, or if I'm at the gas station, or, whatever, and I don't have my computer in front of me. I don't have time to type something out, whatever. I could just open the app and just, do do. Kaitlyn, can you please remind me I have to fill out that form? Like, can you put that into high priority today? Thank you so much. Bye. Just like an audio little message. And then, um, that, like, if I don't do that, it's gone from my brain.
Mm.
And so then, if she's working at that time, she'll do it right then, or she'll do it, later that day or the next day or whatever. But it's like just a fast and handy way to do little updates like that. But it's also great for if you want to go back and forth and like hash something out verbally with somebody, or text. I mean, you could do that too, but um, sometimes uh, I'll have an idea, or I'm struggling with like figuring something out or whatever, and I'll hop on there and do an audio message, of just like, okay, help me understand what I'm looking at. Like, I want to do this thing, da 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 da. Here's where I'm struggling. What do you think about that? How could we brainstorm how to fix that? Whatever,
Yeah.
and then she'll hop on and talk
Using it
talk
that
about.
way. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Using it that way has been so helpful for us. Like I know like
Yeah.
use the hashing it out and working through like a problem. I know we used a ton with the course launch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where like just things of like, okay, this email is supposed to go out before this one, or was it supposed to go out after this one? Who's it supposed to go to? You know,
Mm-hmm.
what do we still need to do? Like just those quick like messages back and forth
Yeah.
are just so helpful. And I know it's like there's, Slack is similar in like the messaging feature, and you can have it on your phone and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Voxer, and Marco's similar, but it's a video, but the Voxer like quick messages back and forth, like voice memos almost,
Mm-hmm.
have been really, really helpful for us.
And I found too that not just from a virtual assistant standpoint, um, but a collaboration with client standpoint. So I started offering one-to-one Voxer coaching for the same exact reason as what you just said. So like I have these Empower Hour sessions that I talked about in the intro of this episode, but as an ongoing thing, if you're looking for support for, like a month, we could just have this kind of open channel where we
Mhm.
can message each other back and forth and stuff. And so I do have that available too that I'm going to be talking about soon. But my clients have just said like, oh my God, like being able to talk through stuff, being able to um, respond when I can, because that's the other thing. It's not like being on the phone. It's not
Mhm.
like that immediate, I need an immediate response right now because we're on the phone. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll answer you in a minute. Sometimes it's immediate, like if we're going back and forth, but sometimes it's like, look, I'm doing laundry. Like, I'll get back to you in an hour or I'll get back to you tomorrow. But it still allows that verbal or that audio, conversation. Um, and so that's been awesome for some of the clients that I've been doing these coaching packages with because we're hashing it out like or we're hashing it out live together
Mhm.
as if we're sitting there having coffee, but they're able to take a pause when they need to. So
Yeah.
love Trello so much.
Yeah, that's been super, super nice. And even like separating it out from like text messaging, sometimes texts are needed and like it's a more like need a quick response, but like to have the app that's specific to like your business and like clients, to have that messaging and like, you can wait and get back to them whenever. That's been
Hmm.
really nice.
Yeah. Um, so, okay, so you're working as a virtual assistant for a couple years, you're taking
Mhm.
on different clients and stuff. And then you kind of started to shift and pivot a little bit. So tell us how that happened and tell us what you're doing now. Even though you're still my virtual assistant and I am very, very, very grateful and I am very spoiled. Thank the Lord. Okay, go ahead.
I have my OG VA clients. Yeah, I've always thought of like the VA business, part of my business as like the foundation of my business because like I said, like I just love having the different things to do and like learning new things and you
Hmm.
know watching my clients grow their businesses and like all that stuff is just so much fun for me and it's really filling for me. So I wanted that, like I wanted to keep that. I never wanted to like not do VA work. But when I was trying to figure out how to scale and like, I was at the point where I ran out of like hours, like packs of hours, my packages were I think like 10 hours, 25 and 40 a month, something like that. And I just didn't have the capacity to bring on more ongoing clients where like, it was long term. So when I was trying to figure out how to scale, how to grow, and how to like, bring on more clients, work with more people, I was trying to figure that out and what avenue, like, do I become an OBM, which is online business manager? And I thought about that avenue for a long time and I really didn't want to. I just did not
Okay.
like, I don't know why. I just didn't, it wasn't vibing with me. So
Hmm.
I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to, like I mentioned, like I didn't want to only do social media management. I didn't want to only do, website edits, those type of things. So when I was trying to figure that out, I realized I had like a light bulb moment that I was using HoneyBook at that point for several years. And I love HoneyBook. It's great. It's an easy user interface. They have tons of features. It's really nice. Um, and at that point I had done like almost like amateur HoneyBook account setups for my VA clients, a lot of them. I had
Hmm.
done like 3 or 4 at that point where they just one day were like, one of the random things somebody needed was like, hey, like I want to get my HoneyBook in order. Can you help me with that? And I would go in and be like, okay, yeah, like you send this email every single time you get a new client, it's pretty much the same email. Let's turn that into a template. Um,
Mm.
and if you're sending the same proposal for this package every time with the same contract, all of that, like let's turn that into a template. I don't think they had smart files at that time, but that's one of their one of the new files that they offer in the last couple of years. But before that, it was, the proposal template. Um, so I would go in and kind of optimize their account that way. And so when I was trying to figure it out, I was like, oh, like I've done a lot of HoneyBook setups at that point. I like doing it and it's super helpful for the business owner. They don't have to spend hours writing, typing out an email from scratch and all of that. So I started to explore that. I started doing the HoneyBook setups as like VIP days or kind of
Mm-hmm.
like my I don't know if high ticket offer is the right word, but um, kind of that one-on-one, one-time offer to people. And I eventually realized I really wanted to focus on photographers. Um, partially because I grew up around my sister who was a photographer. My grandfather was a little bit into photography growing up, so that just kind of has like a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
So I really liked working with photographers, and I wanted to figure out a way to work with them more. And so I kind of just put those two together, and HoneyBook has a lot of photographers on the platform and all of that. So yeah, I started doing that, and I found they had it's HoneyBook Pros program, and they also have HoneyBook Educators. So I started joining those two things, where they basically, and there's like a interview process and all of that to become a HoneyBook Pro, but after that, they basically promote your business, and they share your information, and people who are looking for a HoneyBook Pro to like set up their account or help them. They have other people like bookkeeping, design stuff. It's not just strictly HoneyBook setups, but yeah, they basically promote you. You can still run your business how you run it. It's just kind of like a cool marketing collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I started doing that, and I've been doing that now for a year, 2 years now, and it's been really great.
That's awesome. So you basically have, which is so incredible, this kind of built-in funnel
Mhm.
of clients coming to you
Yeah,
because of your uh, existence on that preferred kind of network
yeah,
and your experience in the platform itself as being a pro, which is just so awesome. Like you have these people coming right to you from the
I
platform
know,
that you know and love. Yeah, that is so amazing.
it's super cool
Um,
that they do that for us. Like I'm not
yeah.
good at marketing myself. Like I've never been great at like posting,
Hmm.
educational content and reels and all that stuff. I'm not great at like keeping up with that. So it's been
Hmm.
really a cool thing to be able to be part of the program where they're kind of promoting us for us. So yeah.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, because I was gonna ask, like, talk to me about your current marketing process, but you just did. That is your marketing
That's
for,
it.
which is so great. I mean, like, oh my God, like so awesome that you're able to benefit from that. So
Yeah.
again, everybody listening, I'm gonna have this in the show notes. You're gonna get 30% off your first year of HoneyBook if you sign up through Kaitlyn's link, which I'm gonna put in the notes. And then you can also check out her profile there. And if you are a photographer, videographer in that space, like you should also then hire Kaitlyn to set it all up for you, um, which would be so great. And you can experience working with Kaitlyn because she is the best.
Hey.
Um, so this has been such an awesome chat. Again, don't forget to check the show notes. I'm going to have that link for if you're looking for a VA, that Michaela Quinn link, so that you can, put in what you're looking for, what you can afford, what the tasks are that you need help with, all that kind of stuff, and fill out that form so that qualified VAs will come to you in response. So that is huge. Yay for that. And then before we go, I had put this in the intro to remind people that the third cohort of the Mini Mind is opening its doors
Yay.
this month.
Woohoo.
Caitlin has been a member of the first two Mini Minds. And talk to me a little bit about your experience in there. Like I was explaining how it's a virtual business sisterhood. It's 2 months long. It's very it's a private community. It's collaborative. It's accountability. It's support. It's all these things.
Mhm.
But talk to me about how you incorporated it into your business. What were the features that you liked? What were you working on when you were in there? Just talk to me a little bit about your experience as a member.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mini Mind has been awesome. Highly recommend to anybody, literally anybody, whether you have big things you're working on or not. Like it's just such a great space to be in. When you first launched it, I knew I wanted to be in there, support you and to meet some people. And I had some meetings with some people that that were in the first Mini Mind just through
Hmm.
like virtual study halls and stuff. But yeah, I really wanted to be in there, but I did not expect to have such have it be such a positive impact for me. I personally, I'm a homebody, I'm an introvert, so like I don't necessarily crave like going out and hanging out
Hmm.
with people all the time, that type of thing. I'm very comfortable just like hanging out at home and being by myself and all that. But in the first mini mind, I realized that like you are like alone a lot of time. A lot of time you're working independently when you're running a business, whether you're working with a team and have subcontractors or not. Like a lot of the time it's very independent work and you're kind of staring at a screen for hours a day. And so I realized I was missing that community and that connection with people. And so that was the first thing that I realized. I was like, oh, like this is really fun. Like it's not so high stress where you have to like go out and meet a group and be there for hours and hours. It's very relaxed. It's virtual, but it's
Hmm.
very nice to get to meet people and just kind of chat and share stories and share where you're at in business. And I know when you started it, I think when you started it, it was a rough year. Like everybody was
Yeah.
having a really hard time. Maybe it was like right after COVID stuff or like in
Yeah,
the
it was pretty
year.
soon after. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
So
still kind of dealing with that, but yeah.
right. Right. We're still in the aftermath period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So a lot of people just needed that to chat with other people going through the same thing because it can get lonely and
Hmm.
missing that connection piece when you work from home or when you work virtually. So I love
Hmm.
that the most. And just now I stay in touch with those people that I first met and that have been in the cohort since then.
Hmm.
When I joined, I think I was in the process of trying to figure out how to scale my business with the HoneyBook stuff. I'm pretty sure that first one.
Hmm.
I think that's what I was focusing on trying to work through. So having
That
like,
was your main project.
I think so. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think that the time set aside for like the study halls and stuff in the first or the second, and just having other people to verbally talk through all the things with is really helpful. And also having you there, like you're just so amazing at detangling and helping people work through their problems and work through roadblocks and figure out creative solutions for things. Like that is a gold mine. You're just an amazing, beautiful, magical human. So having
Well,
you
thank you.
the key.
Thank you.
But yeah, like that is just such a great thing to be part of. So I loved it and I'm super excited for this one.
Yay. Thank you for saying all that. I am really excited to do this third one. I try to make them better and tighter and, learn more each time. But it's funny you had mentioned the study halls. So for those of you who are not in my free Facebook group, it's called the Help Desk. You can find it on my website. I, from time to time, offer silent virtual co-working sessions in there, which I just call study halls, like virtual study halls. And basically they're free and you can just hop on Zoom and you don't have to have your mic on, but it's just having like an online space to co-work. You have like FaceTime, you could see people with their heads down working on stuff, and it just feels like, okay, we're all kind of doing something together. So I brought that same concept into Mini Mind. So in Mini Mind, each week there are dedicated virtual co-working sessions where we do the exact same thing. We're all working on different stuff, but it's like we meet early in the week to talk about, how the previous week went and what we're, I call it intention setting for the week, what we're going to be working on that week. And it's just, what is that? The wicked meme of holding space. Like we're holding
Yeah.
space
Mhm.
to have you work on something that moves your business
Yeah.
forward. And I know that that was a valuable piece of it. So
Yeah.
really excited to welcome the newest sisters. And the doors are going to be opening this month. So everyone needs to go to aliciayurvis.com/minimind to put yourself on the wait list so I can send you all the details when that opens. Um, Kaitlyn, I love you. And I'm going to talk to you like a million more times today.
Yep.
But but thank you so much for being on here. You said yes right away, as I knew you would. And this has been so great. I know that people feel now more like, okay, now I actually have some information. I understand this a little bit more. I feel more confident. I think I can, loosen the reins a bit. Let me get some help.
Mhm.
We all need some help. And again, just put out your offer, put out what you can do and see what comes back, and revise from there and give it a try because it has been life changing for my business. Cannot recommend it enough. So, Kaitlyn,
Yeah.
thank you again so much. Everyone
Yeah.
jump into the show notes, get all those good links.
Mm.
And I will talk with you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me. This has been great.
Yay! All right, I'll talk to you
Bye.
soon.